Dean, how's your day
It's
going?
going it's going fantastic. It's going fantastic. I love negotiating $1 million deals that are off market that I produced from a just sold call literally 2 months ago.
Isn't that great?
It's the best. It's the best.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let me see. I'm going to change the view here. I want everybody that's on the call, make sure that you're muted. We'll have an opportunity for some Q&A here at the end. But you guys are in for a special treat. You're going to see here shortly why I hand selected Dean Clark and said, listen, I want to interview you for our bonus Zoom call, and I want people to hear your story. So let me see here. I'm going to change this so we can see your pretty mug. All right. So first of all, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Dean, tell us where you're from, what company you work for. Let's start with that. Where are you from? What company do you work for?
So Hoboken, New Jersey, and I'm with EXP Realty.
Now, for those people that are not familiar with Hoboken, tell them what's unique about Hoboken.
It has the most bars per capita in less than 1 square mile in the country. It used to be a big college town, but now it's it's right across from New York City, literally within 15 minutes in a PATH train away. So like Jersey City area, Hoboken, that main market center there is. So my market's vertical. I mean, all I've known for almost 15 years now in the business, it's been a vertical market, condos, multifamilies. I do handle single families, but it's on the rare occasion.
But how big is Hoboken?
Oh, it's so we have a little less than 1 square mile, and we have literally 70,000 residents in
70,000 people in 1 square mile.
Yes,
Everything's condos. It's all vertical.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Dean, you've been in the business for how long?
I've been in the business now for almost 15 years. Yeah.
Okay. So for almost 15 years. Now, I tell you, since you and I have been working together, you have done some things that are quite amazing and very unique for somebody who's been in the business for 15 years, because there's many people on this call that can relate to what I'm getting ready to say. You know, after doing things as long as you've been doing them, it's kind of easy to get stuck in your ways. And one of the things that Steve and I talk about all the time, you know, especially like right now, as we're coming up to the end of the year and we're starting to talk about 2025 goals and business plans and things such as that, it's normal for people that have been in the business for 15 years to say, okay, my business is here and now I want to take it to here. And so Steve or I'll say, great, what are you going to do differently? What changes are you going to make? Man, I'm just going to work hard. I really want it. I am so excited. I am so pumped. I can't wait for this new year. And they have a goal that's based all upon emotion, which lasts for about how long?
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, about the first week of the month. Okay. And then they're right back to doing things the way that they've always done them. So in 2023, let's go back a year, Dean. 2023, what was your production?
So we closed 48 sales. And as you know, my vertical market, we do a lot of rentals, but we actually get paid quite handsomely for a rental transaction with, so we make anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per side of a rental. So we did in total about 140, somebody, I don't know, Teddy will have to verify this, but 130 to 140, I think, total transactions, but only 47 to 48. So I had a pretty deep decline in that. But I also, for what it's worth, I transitioned into the leadership and figuring that out and coaching and for my teams and everything. So
Yep. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So in 2023, that amounted to how much in volume?
Volume was like close to 30 mil.
About 30 million.
Yeah.
Not bad, right, guys? Pretty good year. Everybody can agree with that. Good year. So now, 2024, if we were to compare across the country and say, okay, is it easier to do deals in 2024 than 2023? I think most of us would say 2024 is a much more difficult market. Nod your head if you guys agree with me on that. Yep, much more difficult market. And yet, this year, you're on pace to do what kind of volume?
Oh, we're at 46 million.
46 million with still what, a month and a half to go.
Correct. And that's like, increasing some of the team members, deducting some team members. It's not just like me hitting the pavement all the time with just like prospecting, because I think that we worked on in the last at least few months. I mean, it's literally been all clarity based work. And it's,
Mm-hmm,
yes,
mm-hmm.
we all hear prospect for business. We all hear do what we have to do systems wise, leverage wise, to a certain extent. But I realized that, I think the biggest thing, yeah, the production, it's just amazing. And we follow the money, right, Gordon, like on a lot of our calls together.
Yeah.
So like the most pending income I had last year, rolling pending amount, I
Right.
think was like somewhere like in like the 75-80 range. And right now in the like almost Thanksgiving, I'm very proud that our team pulled this off, and we're ending the year really strong. To close out the year, we have 275,000 pending in income right now.
So hold on.
Yeah,
There's some, Adam, keep your eyes on the road, man. Okay. He's going to say some things that might cause you to want to faint. Keep your eyes on the road. All right. So 70,000 ish last year was a great pending amount.
correct. Yeah.
And now this year, right now, at the time of year that everybody knows, man, nobody sells any houses this time of year. Right.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
let's let our competition keep thinking that. Okay. And
yeah.
you got how much pending again?
275,000.
275,000. And again, you went from 30 million, which was a great year, and you were going to increase by over 50% in a down market.
Yeah.
Okay. See, listen, it's nothing to brag about if your business goes up year over year by the same amount that the market goes up. Then hey, I'm better. I'm doing better. No, you're not. The market's doing better. But what happened is the market did this and Dean did this after 15 years in the business. Now you guys seeing why I wanted you to hear what Dean is doing. All right, so let's explain a little bit further about your setup. So first of all, Dean is an actively producing agent with a small team, not a big team. We're working on the team, okay? But right now with a small team. So describe your team as it looks right now.
Yeah. So I have two full-time agents that have been with me for close to 2 years. I have a new member, new to the business, full-timer. So that's 3 full-times now, agents that work with me. My right hand, second in charge, Teddy. I mean, she's processes all our deals. I think that's like the biggest for her development. Seeing her development, honestly,
Yeah,
was probably
yeah.
like 7 years of growth. And like, if you can get a rock star assistant, guys, that will process your deals in the right way, and like you can trust that they can take care of a lot of conversations with those sellers or buyers,
Good point.
man, so her development, so she takes off a lot of that place. So she's been with me now for 7 years. And then Jen's been with me for, I think, close to 2 years. She's Teddy's assistant. So I have 2 admin supports in that seat. I have 1 ISA that I pay on a salary and bonus in-house. I have 1 virtual ISA as well that's in Mexico. And then I just hired, again, to be as efficient as possible here, I just hired just last month a database cleanup manager. So one of the things that I realized that because we in our coaching calls, I feel like we talk a lot about just the headiness of this business, right?
Yes,
Getting the
yes.
clarity, focus. And then when I get the clarity, and we were working on that together, I was able to like see the light. And I was like, oh, this is what I have to do. And so
Yeah.
then my actions, then I was like, I got to hire a database person, because I don't want to have to forewarn every single number or True People search every single number that I have to do every single morning for an expired or canceled or FISBO. I want to have it ready to go. So I come in the office and I'm like gunning it. And like, as an example, last week, I mean, I literally was in 4 days in Scottsdale for a bachelor party. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
like just personal, like time and the whole thing. I come back the second contact of the day because of the database manager And just because everything else was lined up for my staff and everything else, I called my second contact, got an appointment within 2 hours. Thank you, Steve, for allowing me to understand that. I went on the appointment right away. And what's funny is that we listed it 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I just got a message this afternoon that we're getting an offer on it for 50,000 over asking price.
Sweet.
This was an expired listing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a culmination of the skills that we've built up over, I've built up over the years that I'm training my, team on now. And, but having the right systems and leverage that give you like the whole thing, Gordon, I think that I've realized too, like if I could be on the phones, like where is my zone of genius,
Okay.
right? Where is the zone of genius? The zone of genius is being on the phones, talking to prospects or agents to coach and train them up all day long, every second, every moment of the day. Now,
Right.
and as Lincoln knows, I think I see him on the call. Everyone knows I am obsessed with sales. I am obsessed with this business. And it's guys like yourself and Steve and Sydney that, really help me get to the next level mentally to get that clarity.
Awesome. So let me just recap to be sure everybody followed. So you have 3 full-time salespeople.
Yes.
And then you have 2 admins. Okay.
Yes.
Plus you have the in-house ISA and the virtual ISA.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And that team is not drastically different from last year, correct?
No, besides the database manager, I did hire the in-house I had the virtual ISA for a while, but it's a different quality that you're going to get for that.
You know what I thought of when you said the database manager?
Yeah.
I said, he's copying the whole Doge idea. With
Yes.
Elon Musk and Babaswamy going to go
Yeah.
in.
Well, if I could speak on that, because
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you have to know what kind of business that you're running.
Yeah.
Right? We are the Dean Clark Group is a prospecting based business that is marketing enhanced. We're
Yeah.
not marketing based and prospecting enhanced. So therefore, if I take it with that lens, then my data has got to be mint. If my data sucks, then my whole team's screwed. And they're going to spend hours and hours trying to find numbers, trying to locate who's what, who's this. And so, it's always the same. Like, as it's like we focus on 3 things. It's like, okay, is the data good? Check. What activities are we doing for that day? Check. And then how good are our skills? And then also taking that action that, you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm very passionate about this whole business and this job and this career, because it's given my family and I like crazy amounts of success in many ways that I would have never thought possible. And I was talking to one of our newest full-time members, Gabby, this morning. She's in the office with me, not here, but she was. And, she's new, she's in her 20s, trying to work it out. And if you're new to the business, it's so important to get around the right environment.
Yeah.
I think, and I just whatever you have to do to get the right exposure to people and be close to them in proximity is power throughout. I mean, that if there's anything I could say, Gordon, it's like getting proximity to you and Steve and Sydney, getting proximity to great other members of Watson Powers, to me was the biggest thing. So,
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the key points that I want you guys to take away so far is he went from 30 million to this year. He's going to be in the high 40s to 50 million by the end. And really his team hasn't changed that much. So I don't want you to think, well, yeah, he increased by 50-60% because he went out and hired all these other salespeople. No. That's not the point. So again, don't try to look for what's wrong with what he's saying here today, guys. Let's look for what's right. So we're going to go back a little bit to when you and I first met. Okay. I was thinking about that this morning. I came up and I did some talks up in the Northeast where you live, and we either met in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. It was at a country club. I know that. Which one was it?
It was South Jersey. Yeah.
South Jersey. Okay. So we physically met for the first time in South Jersey. And then we had lunch afterwards. And I know you really related to some of the things that I was sharing in that presentation. And at the time I think you were coaching with Steve or Sydney, and you and I started working together several months ago now. Now, I've taken you in a little different direction, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I want you to talk for just a moment about some of the epiphanies that you have had with our coaching and how that's impacted your business. Because the light bulb, it's been fun to coach this guy, by the way, guys. It's been fun to coach Dean, because it's like every call, it's like you see this light bulb go off. and his light bulb, as you can see, he's got a very expressive face, and his light bulb is, you can see, is right there on his face. It's like you can tell when he gets something, he gets a great idea because his face just lights up. So talk about some of the epiphanies that you've had and what you've done to make this dramatic change in your business.
Well, going back to tracking and measuring was 100%. Like I lost sight of that literally, guys, for like a year and a half, because I got out of the other coaching company. I joined you guys, but then I was like trying to learn this whole new way of prospecting expireds and, working, a little bit more hours in the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like, it was like I had to like unlearn some of these bad habits that I might have had in the past. So like, I just didn't track a lot of my stuff. So tracking and measuring, what like I think we did, journaling also, I think
Yeah.
is also big.
Why is that? Why is journaling so important?
I mean, because you're just reflecting on the day and you're seeing what's like really impactful. And I couldn't believe the biggest aha, if I can say, and again, something I used to do early on in my career that I again just lost sight about because I'm going through the motions and building up whatever I thought I was building up, was affirmations and building up real tangible, like what you said, you like touch a stove, kind of like lights you up type of feeling you get when you read it. And it's so funny, like the decisions I'm making to build out the team in this way right now that we're doing, it's literally designed. It's like, okay, so as an example, I have a 200 a month, $200,000 per month cash flow that I'm looking to attain. That's one of my financial goals. I have a lot of other goals, but that's
Passively.
correct. Yes. Like ones that I don't have to actively be like, I got a sale, I'm going to do this. Right. So a passive goal of $200,000 by January 1st of 2028. So I have a deadline on that. And when I literally, I was telling Rich the other day, my partner in Phone Warriors, I said, listen, I haven't like reviewed my affirmations in like a couple months. Like, what the heck, And I looked at that again and I said, oh my gosh, all my decisions that we've been working on and you've been helping with, and then like with this, I was like able to, I'm seeing why I hired a database manager. I'm seeing why I'm stepping into my leadership roles and coaching and training in a certain way. And like, it's all because that's like a financial goal. But it's just funny how when we set the awareness of like where I want to go, where I want to be, I mean, you get clarity. Like that's it, clarity, man. Like that's it. That's the best thing that Gordon, that you've done. I mean, it's like it's that clarity around the vision, the goals, and just I think but the only way I can get that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I feel like the only way that any of you that are being coached either by Watson Powers or any other coaching company, whatever it is that if you're not asking questions on your coaching calls, you are doing yourself a disservice. You are wasting your effing time. I'm sorry. Like it doesn't make any sense. If you just say, well, coach me today, tell me what I can do. That's like that. No, that's so stupid. Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, and so like, I'm always bringing, I think, questions to you, right? Like I'm not, I almost never not have a question, but also what that tells me, if you're not like, if my agents don't come to me with a question, if we have our scheduled time together, then that means that you're not working truly.
Right.
Like
right.
if I don't have questions from you, you're literally not working. You should have questions, even almost 15 years in the business. And by the way, I just want to, if everyone says like, oh, Dean's been 15 years in the business, so yeah, that makes sense or whatever. Going back to like, I want to be clear about this. I was on a team. I was a buyer's agent, like on Gordon's team or whoever has a team here. I was a buyer's agent on a team for the first 7 years of my career. I was not my own agent until really I got with the last coaching company, the way I look at it, because that was like when I actually learned how to sell in a big way. So really, that's only been a 7-year journey out of the 15. So just so you know, okay.
So
yeah.
So let me jump in, and because I want you to talk to this point. So when you and I first started working together, you were making an assumption. I don't think it was conscious. I think it was an unconscious assumption that so many on this call make. And that is, if I take my business from here to here, then my business has got to become a lot more complicated. I got to work a lot harder. Things have got to be a lot more difficult, because proportionally speaking, if I'm going to go up 50% in business, then I got to get 50% more crazy and complicated. And we said, no, 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 no. It's just the opposite. You've got to simplify. And we talk about that one word on every single call, don't we?
100%. Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like this, simplifying everything. I mean, man. I do tend to try to overanalyze things. I don't know if anyone else can relate, because if you guys did, I didn't realize this until I did a deep dive on myself. Like I did a personality test. I like spent a lot of like money to like figure myself out. Like what is my personality? How am I hardwired? And I feel like that was like a big step for me. This was like only a few months ago. And I realized I'm an introvert. If you guys can believe this, if whoever knows me, you know what I mean? You guys think I'm an extrovert. I'm always like talking to everyone. Yeah, I love being around people. I'm a very extremely social introvert, but I do like my own space. But the one thing is I get in my own head sometimes. And so I made everything so complicated. And I wasn't like just simplifying what it is. And so you kept working on with me on like, let me see that calendar. Why are you doing all this shit? Basically, like there's way too much stuff in here. Let me look at your systems. Wait, why isn't this updated? So now I've been tracking and measuring everything again in a high level. I'm doing my affirmations. So everything is just clear, but also very simple. So I know how to execute every single day. And by the way, all this 275, whatever, that we have coming in potentially in the next month and a half or so, you realize like this is like just in the last few months that was procured. And it wasn't like, this is like, oh yeah, this is stuff he had pending for all year. No, this is like, but it's because I just got simple, but I was able to like release my brakes mentally so that I can just charge hard and also give the help that my team needs to succeed at the highest level.
Yeah. You're involved in a bunch of different things, and we had to take and kind of break it down and say, where are you spending your time? What's giving you the best return? And start to gain some clarity. I recall one of the calls that we had, I gave you this analogy, and I want you guys to listen to this analogy for a second. You're in your car and you are heading to a particular destination and you hit a fork in the road. You could go left or you could go right. But the fact of the matter is you don't know which direction to go. So what do? You come to a stop until you can finally determine, oh, I need to go right. Turn the steering wheel to the right, put the pedal to the metal, and off you go. Because now you have clarity and confidence in your direction. Those of you that are listening to Dean's advice today, I want you to ask yourself, how clear are you with the direction that you're going? How confident are you? Or are you just working like you've always worked, day after day, month after month, year over year? Do you have clarity in where you're going and how you're going to get there? Because it's when that clarity comes to your mind and you start to simplify things, that it's so much easier to put the pedal to the metal and move ahead. Talk some about that, Dean. I know you can relate to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, clarity is everything, right? I mean, I've been saying that pretty much the whole call. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that we've gotten. Like, I had Steve in the beginning, and that was like, oh man, like tactical information, how to this. And I was just like, damn, there's a lot that I didn't know, basically. And I thought I knew everything about expires and all this stuff. That was the first step. So I had like my whole walls broken down, just like out of the way.
Yeah.
Then Cindy comes along, about recruiting and different things. And I'm like, what? Like, I have to do that. I have to do this. And so, and then you come along and it's just like, we got to get simple and clear again. We have to get clarity, because I've also found that when I hop on the phones in the morning, that if you have an adverse reaction to having someone reject you, that usually, well, there's a lot of different things it could mean. But what I found for myself is I'm just not clear on what my mission is for today. That's usually what that means, because I'm cluttered in my mind. Oh, we have this with the kids. I have that with my business. I got that. So if I haven't worked it out and I've looked at my entire, game plan for the day, like one exercise that I do in the morning to have that clarity is I look at my calendar. Okay, what appointments do I have? What personal family functions do I have to go to later on? How much time can I really gun it and really charge hard at making this next 2-3 hours of prospecting like 100% like my time that I'm going to attack like with all force. And that allows me to have the clarity to like move ahead and charge ahead. So
you touched on something just a few moments ago that I want to come back and revisit for a moment. And you were talking about your journaling, and the core. Remember, we talked about core motivation. Core motivation. Okay. So what is for those that are not clear? core motive, some people would call it your why. I don't know. Your core motivation is deep, deep down inside. What is it that causes you to do what you have to do when you don't want to do it? What are you thinking about? Okay.
Mhm.
Many of you on this call are still not clear on that. You'll say this is what's motivating me, but it's something that's really on the surface. Because the challenge is, guys, when you really get down to your core motivation, what is it that's really motivating you? A lot of times it's not sexy. It's very selfish. It's a lot of times it's something that we're not even comfortable talking about because it's embarrassing, but it's me. It's me. It's what I need to think about. I mean, one of the things that you guys can get very clear with this introvert that we're talking to here is he is full of passion. He's full of passion. Now, when you think about the core motivation that we've talked about, which I don't think you would be uncomfortable if I say it has to do with your family. Okay. He's married and several children. And I mean, he's all about his family. This is a family guy. I love that about him. Okay. And so deep down inside, when you're thinking about what you need to do, you're not doing it for Dean. You're doing it for your family.
That's correct. Yeah, I don't the whole reason, building the team and building the organization that I'm in now is designed to optimize to try to get some of my time back. I mean, let's be honest, right? If I wanted to make if I can be totally honest about my numbers that we did remember we did the 4 businesses that I have going
Yep.
on, and I
Yep.
did that. If I can, I'll be very vulnerable with you guys right now. I actually lost money this year, technically on the team, the actual core team. We're going to build to getting to that, different level. I actually lost money. I made my money on just two different facets. It was the general organization I have with EXP, and then the real money maker. Oh, it was listing sales. And so, but the reason I did that exercise was to see, well, what do I have to do? Who do I have to become to get that time back to give? But I have to give, right? So it's a kind of a catch-22 in many ways as you're starting to build. I'm starting to learn that, but journaling and everything has helped me understand like where, we need to be. So yeah, I've actually, listing production sales is where a lot of the money is. But at the same time, it does take up my time. However, you get to a certain level of skill based, you know how to work your listings and know how to price them out, know how to sell them. That does save a lot of time, let's be honest, right? But at the same, it's like there's a bigger core motivator here that I legitimately, with again the organization that I'm with, I can pass this down to my kids. The team itself, they want me. It's a leadership thing. It's they're buying into me and the culture that we have at the Dean Clark Group. But the general organization, that's where a lot of my time, I would be able to get back that I can actually pass down to my kids if they so choose to want it and to work it or not, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So let's come back to that call that you were referring to, where we broke down the 4 segments. Okay, your personal production, your team,
yep,
EXP,
yep,
and Phone Warriors. Okay, those are the 4 areas that you're involved in. We'll touch on Phone Warriors a little bit more later for those that are wondering what it is. Okay, and we said, all right, we've either got to figure out, first of all, we got to figure out what's profitable, what's not, and then do we keep it and enhance it, or do we get rid of it? Okay, and you put a lot of time in to determining the answer to that question.
Yes. Yeah, I spent an entire Saturday like going through every number, and I went deep, like line by line item on the ledger on my bank accounts to see where's all the money coming in, going out, and really getting clarity, right? About what, and it was the best thing I could have done. Best. Because I think we also as agents, we kind of avoid like, looking at our real numbers, but unless you're aware of your actual situation, like that's the beautiful thing about it. Like I love knowing where I stand, because if I have nothing pending, I have nothing going for me, I have no agents that are, working alongside me as a partner to promote what the values that we have at the Dean Clark Group, guess what? At least I know that. And now I can have clarity to like charge ahead and be like, okay, great. Well, if I want to do this, I got to do X, Y, and Z. And so, I I don't know how clear that is, but like, or that answer, but it's, you know, I realized that like, yeah, the team itself, at least right now, just honestly wasn't making a lot of money for me this year. And a lot of that production is still me, but you know, look, I mean, I already feel the chemistry that it's different because of the clarity that I've been able to get from work, you know, working together, but also in general doing some other work on the side.
So, so there's a common question that I get, when we're talking about being diversified, because you've got all these things going on. How do you juggle? How do you juggle all four of those things and give them the time and the attention that they need? How do you do that?
Oh, and let's also not forget my personal family. That
Yeah, yeah,
um, I have three young kids, 7, 5, and 2. So it's
yeah,
not like we're in like the teenager years or older. I have very young kids. It is a when I get home, there is no rest. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
It's like just like go all the time until I hopefully fall asleep. If I don't get woken up. Anyway, I digress. But the yeah, so the question was, how do I like
How,
appropriate
how, do, how
everything?
do you juggle all of your different areas of responsibility?
I just it's very simple for me now. I mean, because again, I have now had the clarity of reviewing everything. I give energy too, that I have the best chance of getting my energy back. You know, it's very simple. Like if I'm gonna give energy to my, you know, my general organization that we have here, right? If I know that like I know now how much time I really need to spend, so you have to kind of go through like the messy middle part as you're building anything, I feel like, to
Mhm.
figure out what you need to do and what you need to manage over time. So I kind of learned that part of it. It took me the last 2 years. I mean, I only started doing this team thing for like a year and a half, 2 years, really, to
Mhm.
really build it. And so it's just giving energy, right? Like how much energy am I going to give to a certain activity that I have to do? Like I know on Wednesdays, like my team needs me at least that one time a week that I'm there, but I'm there all day, you know, for them, and I'm there from the morning until the afternoon night, and you know, I'm we have our meetings in person on the Zoom, etc., and we basically like that's what they are looking for, but it seems to be working. But I'm also a lot better with my communication, so like I'm able to like communicate in a very direct way that they usually understand. And so it's just giving, just kind of like you figure out over time. Like you have to get through that messy period until you know it and have a good idea of like what you need to give energy to, and then you can kind of peel back and be like, okay, I've assessed it. I know what works, what's not working, and let's charge, you know, ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. It's great advice. So I know you still got a lot of things that you're working on. There's still some things that in your business that you would probably describe as still kind of messy that you're
Yeah.
trying to clean up. What are some of those things?
Um, Messy. Well, mm, it's a good question. I think the biggest, the messiest thing, I guess, right now is just, um, it's not really messy as much anymore. It's more like I just kind of, it's now just like a time over task over time scenario on both the team and the organization stuff. You know, the listing sales, like as an example, like I'm also getting more into attraction, more not agents, but sales. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing my first client appreciation event to attract business to me, right? Because a lot of us here, I think, are prospectors. We're hard chargers. I was, for as many of us know, for many years. I like prided myself on being a world-class salesperson. That was my identity for a very long time. Still is to a certain extent, but I'm now sharing my knowledge that I've learned, that I've busted my ass obsessively to learn on the cold calls, whatever else. So now I guess it's a lot to do with just like, you know, I just have a lot more clarity. So nothing's really truly messy right now. And also, too, you're getting me at a great point. I didn't do this by design. It just happened to fall on this day. This is my
Yeah.
third day with no food in my system, and I've been doing a water fast. So I am
Ah.
clear as can be, and I am just like, you know what I mean? So anything that give me clarity basically is what I'm about right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me tell you what I thought you would say to this, because
Okay.
coming back to what you said a second ago, that you
Yeah.
really hadn't made any money off of the team. And you were
Mm-hmm.
trying to decide, do I continue to move forward with this or do I make a change? And we ran some numbers here recently that got you pretty excited, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we decided, hey, it's worth uh putting the effort into the team. but it's just you were present, but not really giving your whole heart to that
Correct.
side of the business.
Yes.
I think, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, you pick up from here, but what I from our last couple calls, I think now that you started to see this vision and this
Mhm.
clarity, it's kind of helped reignite that passion.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, because I genuinely like I've found of myself that I genuinely like coaching and training agents now. I enjoy it. It's cool to see, that people on my team's successes, and I like how they can make so yeah, I think for me right now we're just like I'm at a point where it's really I just don't really see a lot of um I just don't really have like a lot of things I'm worried about as much. I
Yeah.
poured into my team again that I knew there are certain days of the week I need to be there for them on. And I'm just there to promote like what works and what doesn't. But like I'm not, it's interesting. It's like the clarity, I'm actually I feel like doing more work, but it's less energy because
Yeah.
I'm just sharing my knowledge. And it's a different vibe when it comes to a recruiting and attracting and training and coaching. It's a whole different thing. Like you don't really need to spend that much energy like we do on sales, where we're like, we got to be present, like we're there, we got to charge hard. So I'm learning that kind of balance with my energy management.
Yeah. One of the things that I so appreciate about you, and one of your many great qualities, is that you are very humble. That you don't come across as somebody who is arrogant. Okay, you come across as somebody who's passionate. And in particular, what I want to discuss for a moment, I always lose track. 2, 3 calls ago, when we were really talking about the team, and you were questioning your ability to lead. Remember that conversation? Am
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
am
right.
I a leader?
That's right. I asked that question to you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I had to point out to you a couple things. So first of all, most of you on this call, there's maybe a few not, but most of you are familiar with phone warriors. Okay. Well, Dean and his partner, Rich, pronounce Rich's last name.
Adamski.
And I always say it wrong, Adamski.
Everyone does. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah. Are the founders of Phone Warriors, which started when?
The end, like the last day of December of 2022. So bit 2023. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And now you have how many members?
We're approaching 1600.
1,600 members. So
Mm-hmm.
what was the original thought behind Phone Warriors and you guys getting this started?
Dude, I mean, look, thank you for asking. I'll be on, this is the truth. Okay. It was a fun group. It still is. I mean, it's designed to be just a fun environment with positive accountability, but we were just, it kind of grew organically. Like it was not meant to be like anything big, honestly. I wanted to have some core group of people that can come in whenever they wanted across the country that I was friends with and from other networks and everything else and just come into the Zoom. I'll pay for it. I don't care. Just come into the Zoom.
Hold on, they don't know what you're talking about. You said coming to the
Oh,
Zoom. Explain
so
that.
Phone Warriors is it's a prospecting based community of agents that if you want to learn like what's working today, just like on your scripts and dialogues and see like what it's like to be consistent like with other people that your office or brokerage may not be supplying for you, which is what we found. The Phone Warriors is a live Zoom that runs 24/7. You can log in anytime. We have referrals that pass in and out every single week, different pockets of the country. But now, like that Zoom is everything. So, we had like, I think today we're up to like, I think it was like 20, maybe 22 people. On average, we can be up to 30, 35 people. Those are like the higher moments. New Year's Day, I mean, I did charge hard and I recruited a lot of people to come, all my good friends. We had like 60 agents prospecting. And it was so great because not just that day, but on average, what you notice are trends, you notice patterns. And so it seems to go over really well, on that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, real estate is it's easy to kind of feel like you're on an island out there all by yourself. And so when you came up with this idea about, hey, why don't we get on Zoom together and I can hear and watch you and you can hear and watch me and we can kind of create this community. I mean, man, what a brilliant idea.
Well,
Brilliant
thank you.
idea.
I
So
mean,
kudos to you. And
but it was,
obviously,
yeah. I just want to
Obviously,
say,
1,600 people agree with you.
well, I mean, they're still there, right? So that is cool. But like what I love the best about it is that like we did turn the phone warrior group into, like, we did a couple events here in New Jersey, like, and it was what was so it was just so organic. Like there was no like vision for the phone warrior group. It was just like, hey, we're a bunch of warriors, we're hitting it hard. Come and join if you want. It was just so it was just fun, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, guys, it is a private Facebook group. So you have to go on Facebook, find Phone Warriors, request to be a part of it. They'll have to approve you because they do monitor the people who are a part of it to make sure that they're getting the right people in there and then it's legit. Nobody's coming in there and corrupting, what they've worked so hard to create. So great job to you. So if you still have a little bit of time, Dean, I want to open up and give people an opportunity to ask you a couple questions. Are you
Sure.
still good on time?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So if you would, go ahead and unmute yourself and fire away. What questions do you have for Dean? It's always the fun part. Everybody's waiting to see who's going to talk first. Come on, somebody step up, talk first. Be the guy or gal.
I got a question for Dean. How's it going, Gordon? Dean?
What's
Hey,
up,
good,
Dallas?
Dallas. Good to see
had,
you.
had to hop in on this one for sure. So I am just in the process of building out a team to start for 2025, and bringing on new agents. Is there a specific process that you have? Do you prefer newer agents that you can kind of mold and coach and train, or do you want to get started more experienced agents so you don't have to hold their hand through the process?
That it, yeah. Go ahead. I mean, if you, I don't know that.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Dean, are you going to answer? Or you want me to answer that one?
Well, I think you are more qualified. So go ahead.
So I would say the answer to that question has to do with the market that you're in, Dallas. Okay. When I started my team with brand new agents, but it was also a market that was much, much easier to sell in. I started my team in 2019. Market was still pretty strong. And then, of course, we all know what happened when COVID hit and all of us thought we were going to go belly up. And as it turns out, our business went hog wild. And so I was hiring newer agents. It was a lot easier. As the market has gotten tougher, then I'm looking for two types of agents. I'm looking for the experienced agent, or I'm looking for somebody who has a strong track record of sales. They've got to have strong sales skills. So I'm no longer looking at that newer, younger person who's wanting to make a career out of real estate, because I've found that unfortunately their work ethic is not the greatest. And if they've got to work very hard for business, then they're out. So it depends upon the market as to what advice I'd give you on that. A great question. Thank you.
That makes sense. No problem. And just to follow up, Dean, I know you took a bit of a hit, and I just was talking with John Sy as well. Probably he took a big hit on his team this year as well. So is there anything that you could have done differently? Do you think, not to bleed, like, that's not market related, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just not being clear on who my avatar was for the person that I want on my team. Like now I'm completely clear. Like I know who vibes with the Dean Clark group and who doesn't now. And so it's like, just, it's like, if there's a certain level of energy that I'm looking for, certain number of, and, full-time, part-time, I mean, I've been back and forth to that as well, but like, it's like, there's a personality that fits and vibes with the group, especially if you're like in person here in New Jersey, working with the Dean Clark group, as well as my organization. And so it's like, if we vibe, then you're in the tribe, and that's it.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I'll let somebody else take it forward. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Good to see you, Dallas. Thank you. Questions? Who else has a question?
I wanted to ask you, with regards to your core motivation, how did you go about finding out what your core motivation is? Because I believe that is where my greatest challenge lies.
Okay. Hey, Lincoln, that's a great question, buddy. And by the way, Lincoln is a consistent member of Phone Warrior, so thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Awesome.
And so the core motivation. So the question is how do you get really clear? How do you develop your core motivation? Is this is probably one of the hardest parts, because I think if you're a real estate agent, I think Lincoln too, we have a lot of self-worth in action. We have a lot of self-worth in our activities, how much we're pulling in, like what we're doing, right? And if we're not taking any action, then we feel, at least for me, I felt like I wasn't worthy of a lot of different things. Okay. Now that was a few years ago. I'm a changed man now because I developed and I had to literally sit there in my own thoughts and self-reflect. And so it's really just taking the time for me to, I had an assignment from Gordon. He's like, find out your core motivation. I don't care what it is. I need you to see it. Take your time. Before I start coaching you, need to do this right now. It took me a week to give him an answer, because I was trying to oh, it's my family. Oh no, I want to make a lot of money. Oh no, I know, and so just sit there in your thoughts. And I know it's the hardest thing you can do. It is the hardest thing, but it's just finding out what really lights you up. You know what I mean? And I think that's for me, what I'm always looking at my energy is what lights me up, what's going to get me that I don't have to spend a lot of energy, but I still get a lot of energy from to accomplish. And, seeing obviously my family's faces and seeing that change, seeing an agent on my team get an aha moment like Gordon does for me, you know what I mean? And that transition, that fires me up now. Right. So I think it's just at least for me, that's how I look at my core motivation.
Well, I'll tell you too, guys, because I know a lot of you probably have this question roaming around in your minds. I would say this, Lincoln, you know what it is. You already know what it is. It's just you may not be willing to go there. I'm going to give you an example. This is another client that I'm coaching that'll remain nameless, okay? But this is their core motivation, is because of their home life, they grew up always feeling insignificant. They did not have a good home life, and not a good relationship with mom and dad. And now that core motivation is trying to feel significant. What really motivates them is feeling significant, being a business person that others look up to and admire. Okay. I was always made to feel insignificant as a child, but now I'm not. Now people look up to me. They respect me because of what I've been able to accomplish in the business. Now, you could call that arrogant. You could call that self-centered. Both are true. It doesn't matter. This is not for others. This is for you. What is it that you need to think about? Because let me tell you guys, when you discover your true core motivation, when you think about it, you should experience genuine emotion, whether that's the hair standing up on the back of your neck, whether that's tears coming to the corner of your eye. That's when you've discovered your core motivation. So like I said, a lot of times it's not sexy, but I would tell you this, some of you have just got to look in the mirror and really be honest with yourself. What is really driving me? Not what is the story that I would like to tell other people. What is really, truly driving me? Be honest. So
yeah, you actually had to help me with that too. One thing, Lincoln, I'll just say that Gordon did is he was like, is that really what your core motivation is? He challenged me on it. That's what a good coach to me is. You're being challenged constantly on really what an answer is that you have. And so, yeah.
Awesome. Great question. Other questions for Dean?
Hi, Dean. Thank you for the information that you've shared. You had mentioned talking about fasting. Do you have any other information about that? I'm obviously think that's to give you more energy.
Yeah. I thank you for picking that up. I mean, I'm glad I mentioned it because I've never, so I mean, fasting, I've just been doing the last year or so. Every month I'll do 2 days of just no food, but it's kind of like a cleanse. I know there's a lot of water fasts out there. So, but for me, I've just noticed that my body type, my just makeup composition, everyone's different. You have to I just want to put a disclaimer out there. But for me personally, when I eat less and I don't have a lot of calories in my system, like you hear about high protein, everything, I usually have a much better mental clarity. And we just had our coaching call yesterday for the week for our entire organization on the Zoom. And, Lincoln remembers that, like, I mean, I said, where do you find an edge? Like, I mean, it's all about getting an edge. So, anyway, that's why I do it. But yeah, I did the isogenics one. It's a cleanse where you have like a special drink that has like a B12 in there. You could do the Gary Brecka one is what I'm actually currently doing on my third day, because isogenics ends at day 2. So I'm now in the water fast, like true water fasting phase. Yeah. So, it really helps me just, get recalibrated, because you got to give your pipes some, a break, basically.
Hey, well, I will say, whatever's causing it, your energy level is great today. So
I literally have not had like one like physical food that I've eaten since Monday night. So I'm, the fact that I'm still here and I'm live, and that's the other thing too. Kelly, to that point, again, not that you need a lot of why answers here. I think you were asking me to think more how to, or like what am I doing, right? But is that like, I just want to challenge myself. I've never gone 3 days with no food, just so you guys know. This is like a new blue ocean of opportunity for me. Just like when I did my marathons.
I read a quote yesterday by David Goggins. Most of us are familiar with David Goggins. And he said, if you really want to grow, every day you should do something you hate. Think about that. And personally, I hate not eating.
I love food. I love food, Kelly. I'm Greek. Okay. I love food. Trust me. But it's like, it's awesome, having this feeling. So Gary Brecka, water fast. He has a 3-day plan or a 7-day thing, I think. And then I did isogenics for the cleanse as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Got time for 1 or 2 more questions. Anybody else?
I just want to this is Adam from Phoenix. How you doing?
Hey, good, Adam.
What's up, Adam?
Good to see you.
I had Steve Powers as my coach about 3 or 4 years ago, and we just signed up again, and I'm remembering why he was a great coach. So excited to be here.
Good to have you back.
Yeah. Dean, I more just wanted to say how awesome that we can have this level of vulnerability with our businesses. I mean, we're here to make money. We're here to be real. And, I didn't make money on my team the last 2 years. And I think that Gordon and Steve and Cindy are getting us to focus on things so we can make quick changes. Just like Gordon said with the market, it depends on the market, how we're doing things. And I love being a part of a group like this. And I appreciate the fact that you lead off and start with that. So thank you.
Yeah,
awesome.
Adam, and thank you for those kind words. And last thing I'll just say to that point, Adam, is that again, it's just like being completely honest with yourself and where you stand. But here's the great thing about losing money on the team this year is that I know why, right? And so now that I know why we lost money on the team, okay, now I have the ability to either dump it or fix it. And so I'm choosing to fix it and grow it. And so that's, so that's why I'm okay sharing all that stuff.
Awesome. All right, 1 more question and we'll wrap it up for today. 1 last question. Anybody else? Going once.
I know Randy's got a question, but he's quiet over here. I'm just kidding.
Anybody else? Come on. All right. So this call being recorded. Anybody that wants a copy of it, we'll send it out to you. Dean, man, you killed it today. You were awesome. You were authentic. You made a difference. And I know that everybody, if you were able to hear the applause, it would be loud and robust. So
thank you for having me. It was a real honor.
We appreciate you. Thank you guys for being a part of Phone Warriors. Thanks for joining us today. And happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.